Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another new deal. This is the third PR in a row this week from Palantir. It was kind of interesting because I woke up this morning. I actually woke up pretty early and I was like, I wonder if they would do a third PR in the week. And I woke up earlier than their PR, and then a couple hours later, their PR comes out. Now, this one is an interesting PR. It continuously reinforces my belief that Palantir Foundry is going to have a lot of applications going forward into the future in a lot of different ways. So let's get right into it. Palantir Technologies and Posit partner to integrate RStudio into Palantir Foundry. Now, RStudio recently rebranded themselves to Posit. RStudio is now Posit. This is their website. Our mission continues. At Posit, our goal is to make data science more open, intuitive, accessible, and collaborative. We provide tools that make it easy for individuals, teams, and enterprises to leverage powerful analytics and gain insights they need into making a lasting impact. I had a friend, shout out to Shamby Shambles, who messaged me on Twitter, who talked about this, and he said, "Hey, dude, RStudio is a pretty big thing in data science, and he's correct on that. I am not like the most nitty-gritty technical understanding everything about data science or RStudio, but he's absolutely correct because I've heard that phrase many times. He says, "I'm not sure how big a deal the integration with Palantir is. Got to look at the details and how it is being brought together, but RStudio is one of the biggest coding tools in data science along with Jupyter Notebooks." So for those that are in the tech space, those that understand data science, you probably understand these terms as well, and all of the different libraries that exist to be able to do the things you do with data science. But Palantir integrating with RStudio is definitely beneficial given how big RStudio is and given how many developers around the world use it. Palantir needs a evangelist developer community to get more and more organizations to be like, hey, we need Foundry versus this other stuff because it's just more effective and intuitive. And partnering with leading data science companies is probably a great way to get there. So Palantir, a leading builder of operating systems for the modern enterprise, and Posit, the open source data science company, today announced a new technology partnership to integrate the enterprise version of a widely utilized RStudio Pro into Palantir Foundry. Through this partnership, customers of Palantir and Posit will have the ability to bring their Posit Workbench licenses into Foundry, where they can leverage a fully managed RStudio Pro environment that sits alongside the full application suite of Foundry. So, kind of like Foundry was working with AWS, with GCP, with Microsoft Azure, and with Cloudflare as of yesterday, now they are integrating those workflows into RStudio. Here's why this is important. Customers accustomed to the advanced analytics environments that RStudio Pro has to offer will now have the ease, flexibility, and immediate value of a direct integration with Foundry while reaping the benefits of a fully integrated platform. Aligning with Posit's goal to make data science more open, intuitive, accessible, and collaborative, this new capability closely integrates with Foundry's data governance and security primitives, such that customers maintain a secure environment for working with data and models. Now, this is a really important thing. One of the beautiful things about Palantir Foundry is that they have data governance. So, the reason why the FBI and the CIA can both use Foundry is because there is cross-collaborative tools and protection within those cross-collaborative tools, so that if there's something the CIA can't see from the FBI, that stuff is protected because the technology is built not only with the philosophy of that data privacy, but also with the actual technical tools, which is not an easy thing to do to be able to protect data from being seen from parties that don't have access to it. So those security primitives mixed with the intuitive and accessible features of RStudio make this a really interesting partnership and hopefully should be a match made in heaven for developers. We believe that the benefits of this new integration will span across multiple use cases, particularly amongst data scientists in the healthcare and life science industries. Now, this is important because healthcare and life science industries was a new is a vertical that Palantir just developed a new product for called QMS, Quality Management Systems, within that field around life sciences, and they announced that 2 days ago. So that's also pretty interesting that they announced that a couple of days ago. And, now they're talking about how in the life sciences space, this is actually something that will be utilized and will be a good thing for those different developers. We are thrilled to be working with Palantir to offer our users yet another way to utilize the powerful enterprise data science platform that Posit has to offer, paired with Foundry's ability to effectively bring together data, decisions, and operations. And again, they talked about their new QMS system for life sciences to be able to build that ontology, be able to build the data that is siloed into one place so that people in life sciences can make better decisions and operations with that data. It's the same thing with RStudio with an enterprise data science platform all in one place. Mixing it with Foundry actually leads you to some real results that hopefully people in the data science field will care about. President of Posit also said this new integration allows a wide range of individuals, teams, and enterprises to leverage RStudio on Foundry, and we look forward to having a long-standing partnership with Palantir. Let's go a little bit more. Palantir Chief Architect Akshay Krishnaswamy said, "This partnership with Posit integration with RStudio Pro reflects Palantir's commitment to providing seamless experiences for analytical users, ensuring that they can leverage the Foundry platform while using the integrated development environment that they are most familiar with." So you don't have to leave Foundry if you're using RStudio, but you can have the benefits of Foundry, like governance and security primitives, within RStudio. Again, having an agnostic platform that allows it to work in a more meaningful way. RStudio is amongst the most trusted and widely accessed developmental environments for data science in the market, and we we couldn't be more excited to launch this integration, and this integration will launch later this year. So some thoughts on this. Number one, RStudio, obviously big for developers, big for people in the data science field. Palantir being able to work with them and integrate their services within makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, it seems like it gets to a point where some technologies become so good and so important that leading companies in the space, especially leading companies with huge developer evangelists, which RStudio definitely has, probably, you know, makes sense to work with something like a Palantir Foundry. I mean, you only go so long until you keep using physical servers until you use AWS, right? Like when it makes sense to integrate with each other, then you do the integration. And this integration seems like one of those things in the data science field that makes a lot of sense. Just like when the Tampa Bay Hospital realizes, hey, we probably should actually be able to implement Palantir Foundry because our information is going to be way more accessible and faster. And like, why are we not doing this? It's a no-brainer at that point. You implement with Palantir Foundry, and you have a much more effective organization. RStudio has a lot of people in the data science space using it. For them to get all the benefits of something like a Palantir Foundry, again, seems like a no-brainer, and that collaboration makes a lot of sense. It also signals to why the company and Posit, you know, the people in charge of RStudio, start to have a better understanding of what their developers want. And if their developers are asking for very specific tools within data science that cannot be granted by RStudio because it's just not made for those types of things, then those people are like, hey, well, let's go collaborate with the leading edge players in the data science space, or in a space that is a particular nuance of data science, like security and privacy, for example. And that becomes Palantir. And so I think that becomes a really good partnership. Cloudflare yesterday just partnered with Palantir. You want some of these big names in data analytics and tech because that's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until 2030. These companies are only going to get bigger. There's going to be more data, more AI, more machine learning, more people working with these platforms. Palantir Foundry being at the leading edge of the partnerships with these companies to be able to integrate Foundry because it's agnostic and does not need to be a static form of software is a really good thing. Second piece of analysis here is developer evangelist community. I mean, it is very important. We've had people like CodeStrap talk many, many times about how developers within an organization need to be able to get that organization to adopt a certain type of software. If I'm in an organization and I'm like, hey, this thing sucks, this thing's good, and I go to my boss and they're like, yeah, but it costs more. Like, yeah, but I will be more effective. I will be more efficient. I will get the job done. At the end of the day, as a business, your job is to get the job done. Right? Like if my CTO and my startup says, hey, we need to do something, I'm like, all right, let's do it. Like we'll see the cost, we'll see what it costs, but like, let's get the job done. Ultimately, we got to grow the business. So getting developers within companies feeling like they need to have Palantir Foundry. We've seen so many Palantir Foundry applications on job descriptions like, hey, you need to know how to work with this, you need to work with this. But if you have internal people within the company saying, this is what we need to get the job done, that's important. And you got a lot of people saying that for a lot of other pieces of software, not necessarily yet for Palantir, because a lot of developers just don't know about it, and there's not a thriving developer community yet for something like Foundry being implemented in a business. So I think this is another step once this closely integrates, where if you're in a company and you're working on RStudio, maybe you haven't implemented all of Foundry throughout the organization, but you've implemented Foundry within the collaboration and specific thing you're doing with RStudio, and it makes your life 10 times easier, makes things 10 times faster, makes collaboration way more better. Why wouldn't you advocate to have Palantir Foundry implemented in different parts of the organization, which is kind of exactly what happened with CodeStrap. I mean, he was using it for a little bit here, and then he was like, we should have this everywhere because this is way faster, way more effective, etc. So when you take it from that perspective, a collaboration with something like an RStudio that's so widely accessible and used would make sense for other developers to feel that if they're using it here, can they use it in other parts of their business? And can the word in general just get out? Can we have a lot more things on Stack Overflow, which is one of the biggest blogs? It's not really a blog. It's more so like a resource and tool for the development community. You know, if there's a lot of RStudio Palantir modules on Stack Overflow, there's just a lot more web presence of Palantir Foundry being used with another code base, and that allows more and more people to know about the name, more and more people to know what it's about, and more people potentially to advocate for using it within their organizations. So overall, this is a really good partnership. It's fun to see Palantir get another deal, you know, third deal in the week, and it's fun to see this come right after Cloudflare. It seems like they intentionally made sure that Cloudflare, a leading IT service management company, creating a phenomenal content delivery network that we even use in my startup, to be integrated with Palantir, and then RStudio, something that is vastly used in the developer community, to also be implemented with Palantir Foundry. It's just a nice little mix of stuff that's going on and we'll see what goes on further. Alex Karp is doing a talk in the Davos Summit. That was brought up yesterday. I saw that on Twitter. So he will be doing a talk. They likely be maybe introducing some new things, talking about different products they've worked on, bringing things to light. I believe that's happening in like 2 weeks. So I'll be covering it on the channel, and we'll listen to what Alex Karp has to say about what's going on with Palantir Foundry. So that's it. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much for listening and watching. I'll see you in the next one.